Hello and welcome to Sweet Spot DFS. This is a preview for the 2020 WGC-HSBC Champions. It's a World Golf Championship, meaning there is no cut. We have a limited field, 78 golfers. So we should have 78 golfers play all 4 rounds, although that is not a guarantee. Sometimes we have withdrawals. So it is something to look at. In this video, I will go over course history, recent form, tee time, pairings, and then we'll go through the DK page and kind of go through lineup building. So I hope to get you the timestamps down below. We'll see. This is already really late at night. Above, you'll see the stats going across. Oh, not stats. You'll just see my favorite plays. Usually I have stats there. I didn't have the time to put it there, so you just have the golfers that I like. That being, the reason being it being late. So we'll try to make this video pretty quick. We'll get right into the course information as we do every week. So we have the Sheshan Golf Club. It's 7,200 yards. That'll fluctuate between 72 and 73. It's a par 72, so it's very average for a par 72. I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring affair at this tournament. There is one drivable par 4. And I think there's one that could be drivable if they move the tees up. So again, that just kind of plays into the whole, scoring really low. We have bent grass greens with, I think, ryegrass throughout most of the golf course. Of course, you watch these videos. The only thing I care about is what's on the green. So that's bent grass. We're going to look at bent grass golfers. This golf course is designed by a design company called Nelson Howarth. Never really heard of them before. I don't really care. I've never seen them on tour, so not that we're gonna get any insight like is if it were a Pete Dye golf course or Robert Trent Jones golf course, that kind of thing. So we can go ahead and disregard that information. I'm going to go ahead, pull up the spreadsheet. I have the course history up right now. We have it sorted by the average. So as you can see, Andrew Putnam has the best average, but he's only played one event. And as we go through here, really we want to find golfers that have played multiple events and have pretty good, a good average, obviously. So Sergio's one that kind of pops up. Henrik Stenson does, but his recent form, I'm not positive how I feel about it. I think he just played in the CJ Cup and did not. I know he played in the Houston Open. Maybe he didn't play CJ Cup. Just kidding. Either way, Henrik isn't somebody I am going to trust a lot this week, so I'll play a little bit of him, but not a lot, especially at his price. Justin Rose, minus his 48, if we took that away, he has a average finishing position of 3rd, so that's pretty good. I do like him, especially on bent grass. And then the rest of them, obviously you can see there are some good golfers, but you're gonna have to kind of judge it based off of price, basically. So I'm not gonna go through all of them. I just want to see kind of the top 20. And here you have, actually, let me trim down the events and we can see some of the guys who've played the events a lot. I think if you take Rory's 54 away, it's 7th, so that's pretty decent. Obviously 54 is a part of his history. We can't just disregard it, but something could have been happening last year, especially with someone like a Rory McIlroy. I would say you could remove that 54. Because he could have been tinkering with something. Could have had one round where he just I'm just going to try to go low, and it ended up going the other way. So I would remove that from Rory's score and kind of think about his average. Same could almost be applied to Matthew Fitzpatrick, not really to the same extent as Rory McIlroy. So his 10th place average, when you take last year's results out, pretty decent. But I'm not going to spend too much time on course history. Let's go ahead and get into the recent form tab. Again, unlike other videos that I've done, you can now see the tabs at the bottom, so you can see it's pretty extensive. I have the 2020 recent form tab up right now. And we're not going to spend much time here. We're going to look at the other tabs. because what I like to do is try to kind of gauge what winners and top 5, top 10 golfers have looked like over the last couple of years, especially looking at recent form. So like, 2019 recent form looked pretty good. You wanted golfers around 30 or better. Obviously one with 44, and that was Andrew Putnam. But as we go through each year, I think we're going to see a lot of the same. Sure, we have a 65.5. That's with, Henrik withdrawing from the tournament the year before, basically. I mean, it was in the playoffs. So I'm not positive how to take that. Again, we still have really good recent form. That was 2017, so we're now 2016. Now we're getting to some golfers who really did not play the year before. A couple of Euro golfers here, some more here with Haotong being there. Who I like this week, by the way. So it looks like, again, recent form is decent or just not there. Again, same thing applies. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, is recent form kind of being 20 to 40. And I'm sure we're not going to get much of a tell when it comes to that, because we're going to see probably most of our golfers that way, or just don't have recent form at all. So when it comes to recent form, that's what I have for you guys. Let's go ahead and look at tee times. I have not looked at any of this yet. In fact, I don't even like how it's sorted. So bear with me for a second. We'll sort this. Let's see, go there. And I'm going to have to do it twice, aren't I? Okay. All right. So we'll start from early. I do like Xinjun Zhang. I think his beginning of this year, recent form is off the charts. I believe he is from the area. I can't remember exactly where, but I do like Xinjun this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually just mark him as a 2, because I don't know who either of these golfers are, and I don't know how that's gonna play together. I don't think Hatton is a very good player to play with, but this group is pretty decent. I'll give him like a B tier ranking. Don't know much about them. I really like this group. I really like Eric Van Rooyen, or EVR as a lot of people call him. He's a great ball striker. He can score birdies in bunches, as can the rest of the guys in that group. So I think they can feed off each other. And now that I see this, I'm probably going to do most of my lineups with one of these guys mixed. I think it's a great pairing. Don't know so much about this. Bradley, I don't know much about this either, but I do like Bradley, and I do like Byung-Hun An. I actually like Byung-Hun An. This could be his first victory. I hope it is. Not so much. I mean, this actually isn't a bad group, to be quite honest. Wu Ashun, or I think it's Ashun Wu. I just don't know with PGA Tour, like the stats and stuff, how it presents it. They always have things mixed up. It's not like they don't do a very good job of making their players, or at least the Asian players, having the right first name or the right last name, or being consistent with how they're presenting. I mean, Siwoo used to always be hyphenated, and now they finally got rid of that, and now it's just C space Woo. Some names are together, like they used to hyphenate Haotong's name, and now it's one word. So I apologize if that doesn't look proper on there. It's just that's what the people. So that's what I go with. I do like that group, by the way. So Zhejiang Dao, or Do, sorry, nickname is Marty. So Marty Do. He was on the tour 2 years ago and then kind of fell off. He and I think JT Poston probably entered the tour at the same time. Either way, it's just information for you guys to know. Not that important to me. I don't like this group at all. I don't like Patrick Reed and Sergio together, but I mean, Sung Jae is such a great player, and all of them together. I mean, let's be real. Like, Patrick Reed's no slouch. Neither is Sergio Garcia, but they're so ill-tempered at times that I don't I don't know what to make of it. I actually don't mind Patrick Reed, and maybe I'll play more of him. Really, the fear of missing out, I'm probably going to play all of them at least once. But probably not. This is a pretty good group here. I'm going to mark that as a 1. I do like Jordan Spieth for a kind of a comeback. I want to think that his round last week was kind of just an experimental one and not so much a telling tale. I didn't watch any of it, so I'm not sure exactly how he played or whatever. Yeah, I think that's okay. This is another good group here. Fleetwood, Stenson, Scott. If I went back up to that last one I was just talking about with Hideki and Paul Casey, I mean, Hideki and Paul Casey are just stalwarts. So they're going to be steady. They're not bad picks. I don't think you're going to go wrong picking either of them. Jordan's really the only risky play in that group. Come down here to Fleetwood, Stenson, and Scott. Scott didn't have a really good round last week. Neither did Tommy Fleetwood. They're kind of right. Just, I mean, the best word to describe them was meh. Just weren't good. They weren't bad for the price. You wouldn't have wanted to play them. So, I don't know what that's really going to look like. But we can look at the DK page and make an assessment that way. I really like Ian Poulter this week, so pairing him with Molinari seems pretty decent, and you can actually see both of their names going across, and actually Louis as well. So there's Poulter, there's Louis. Molinari used to be on that one. Okay, so I do like Molinari. You might not see him up there, but I do like him. This is an interesting group. It's weird you have all the W's. Like last week we had all the P's together, so now we have all the W's together. Let's go ahead and just mark them. I mean, I like all of them. Matt Wallace is a fantastic play. I think he's the European equivalent of Justin Thomas. I think that's pretty decent. I am also discounting European golfers a little bit because we just don't see many that come from there that are elite compared to the Americans. So if you were to think of like a B tier Justin Thomas, I think Matt Wallace fits that mold pretty well. And I could be I could be understating that. I think he's a good golfer, period. So I think you should play him for sure. I don't know much about this grouping. I like Billy Horschel and Kevin Kisner together. 2 Americans, and actually Robert McIntyre, now that I think of it, he's a lefty, I think from Scotland, and he pounds the ball. So I actually don't mind that group at all. I didn't put much stock into McIntyre prior to looking at or creating this video, so we'll see. It's not a bad mix. I don't know about these guys together. I really like Hao Tong this week. And Fitzpatrick. So that's actually really good to see that, because I wouldn't have thought about that prior to. Okay. Shoot. I was hoping Abraham Answer was with Tony Finau. He is not. I like Abraham Answer this week. I like Finau. I've always liked Bernd Wiesberger, but the fact that he is paired with Finau, I might like a little bit more. And of course, now we have a power couple down here, or a power trio. All 3 of those golfers, I think, are going to be great. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. Sorry, I kind of yawned there. Like I said, it's late. So we got a lot of golfers that we like, unfortunately. I'm sorry I couldn't pinpoint more of them. Now, this is a first tournament in a long time that we actually have last year and last week stats. So we are going to go over the last year, last week stats, basically. I create buckets, so I have this bucket system. If you guys are unaware, if you're first time viewers, if you are, welcome. So what I do is I keep track of how many golfers fall into these ranges, basically from 2019 to 2014 or whatever. 2013 usually is how far back I go. For some of these tournaments, 2014 was their first year on tour. So as I go back, I basically, like I said, I keep track of all of them, and then I count how many there are over here. And I just copied and pasted that. So when I made my rankings here, they didn't populate. For whatever reason, there's a weird bug in Excel that it does that, even though I'm looking at this range. So as you can see, the one ranked last year bucket is golfers who did not play the year before. We see at least one inside the top 5. And then the second ranked range would be the 1 to 20. So finishing in the top 20 the year before, and then it goes 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and then basically disregard 60 to 80 and anyone who withdrew. We do have one, and he had withdrew the year before. I should say we had one winner who withdrew the year before, so that's why he's in the top 5. Otherwise, we would have 0. Last week bucket is almost exactly the same, and in fact, all of these rankings are exactly the same if I even go from top 5 to top 10. So our rankings or our buckets are going to be the same all the way through. It doesn't matter if it's top 5 or top 10, and they actually pair well with each other. Did not play for both of them is the higher frequency, and then finishing inside the top 20 either last year or the week before. So that's all I gotta say. The other thing I like to look at is kind of combinations. So I have basically what their last year bucket score was to go along with their last week bucket score. Every single year we see a 1-1, and a lot of them we see multiple 1-1s. I'm not going to go through all of them. You obviously can see that. Ones dominate for both last week and last year, so that doesn't really surprise me, but you do want to play at least 1-1-1. That is a rule. We're getting back to rules now. Definitely play at least 1. The top of the leaderboard is kind of a mix, so we don't really have a tell as who would win this tournament. Obviously, a last year 4, a last year 1, a last year 6, another 1, and a 2. So it's kind of all over the place. And you don't see a lot of those 1-1s up top, you know, like first or second, except for 2016 and 2015. So I'm not really pinpointing going heavy on something. I do know I'm going to play 1-1s in all of my lineups. I'm going to play 2-1s in 80% of my lineups, because you can see all but 1 year there was a 2-1. So all the other ones there have been 2-1s. And I think that's really the only one I'm going to go off of. So it's just those 2 rules basically, and then it's pretty much fair game to play anything else. I will say this, I don't see any 2-3s. I see 1-3-3. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a bunch of 1-3-3s here. And then 1-3-3. Sure, 1-3-2. Essentially what I'm looking at is any last year 1s to go with any other non-1s for last year 1s. So 3-1s, 2-1s, 4-1s, that kind of thing. It's interesting to see a 4-4. That just kind of shows you how different that could be. And we can always go to that and we'll see that that was Xander Schauffele. You know, going to the recent form tab. And I think the 6-2 here is Henrik. Oh, Hideki. So obviously that's no surprise either, that someone like Hideki would win. So seeing that is kind of, you know, it helps us build lineups going forward. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. So we already know the rules that we're going to go through when we go to the DK page. So I have the DK page up. I was going through course history, kind of just looking at everything. I don't have anything starred over here yet. Didn't really get around to that. So we're going to go ahead and hide all that information. So we did look at starting hole tee times. We did not look at odds. I don't care to look at odds. That's more for afterwards, just to see what the betting was like. We do have the official world golf ranking tab here. That's kind of a new one from last year that I've added, just to see what some of these golfers are like, and you know, if we should or should not play them based off the ranking. Now I did say it was top 50, but of course we have exemptions from a lot of the other tours, so that's what you're going to see here. Down, well, I should say all these higher numbers basically. I don't remember all the exemptions, but it is top 50, so it will keep going down. So Tiger Woods isn't here, obviously. Brooks Koepka isn't here. Dustin Johnson isn't here. We got a plethora of top 50 golfers not here, so it just keeps grabbing the next, the next 50. So yeah, we can get into the hundreds pretty easy. And I think that's why we have Xinjun Jiang here. I don't think he was on the Asian Tour last year. I think he was on the Korn Ferry Tour. So I think that's why we're into the 100s when it comes to golf ranking. Anyways, I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that. I am going to hide golf ranking, points per game, value, course history, recent form, last year, last week. We're going to hide all of that and get right into the grass stats. So we have the bent grass events. Well, what I like to do first is sort by overall bent grass stats. Look at how many events here. Obviously, we have Wu Ashun or Ashen with only 4 events, and then an awful, top 10 percentage, but a good overall bent. So, at 6,300, that's not actually a bad price if we're just thinking he's going to get like 20th place. I don't personally like that, so I'm not gonna play it that way. But we can see a lot of these golfers here that have great overall bent grass have really good top 10 percentage stats. So if you wanted to anchor your lineups with Matsuyama, McIlroy, Rose, or Spieth, or even add Spieth to any of those, I think that's totally doable. And I'm probably going to do that. So not going to go through the rest of them. We can do that while we are creating lineups here coming up shortly. Here we have the top 10 percentage. Rory's leading the way at 50%. So personally, I'm going to play a lot of Rory. I think Rory, especially having that 4-2, since that's such an odd number, I'm going to play him in a lot of lineups. I really do like Rose, and I like Hideki as well. It's difficult not to be on any of those guys. Spieth kind of scares me with his terrible performance last week, but again, I'm gonna probably risk it and play him quite a bit. I just think bent grass, get that putter hot, the rest of the game will come through. But yeah, we have a bunch of good bent grass players here. I think any of these golfers, actually going even down to Tyrrell Hatton, I think really good plays. So now the 2019 bent grass stats. If you were in the last couple videos, I was actually pulling from 2019. This is not 2019 anymore. This is just 2020. Technically, it is 2019, but the events from the 2020 season. That's all I'm putting in here. So obviously you see Rory with a 3. Well, he got 3rd place last week. That's why it's a 3. Tyrrell Hatton, I'm not sure he played last week. I don't remember where that stat comes from. Obviously he played in one of the events and got 6. So there you go. Like, I'm not going to put a lot of weight into the 2020 bent grass stats. It's good to see, kind of for like recent form value. But anyways, yeah, I'm not going to. Okay. So I'm not going to get into the swing stats either. Tee to green, off the tee. I don't have a lot of stats populated. PGA didn't really provide much. We have a lot of golfers who have not golfed in a PGA Tour event this year, or have only golfed. Oh, no. So so last week's Zozo Championship, obviously Rory played in it. Now, I don't think that's they don't actually record stats for overseas tournaments. And I can't remember if that's a international tournament. And if it is, obviously it is, but if they deem it international, they never keep stats for international. So that's why we will have some players from last week that have played that don't have stats, and you scratch your head and go, why not? That's why. Okay. So let's go ahead and create some lineups. Like I said, I am going to play 1-1s in all of my lineups. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out. And I mean, we have a ton of 1-1. I'd clear this one out. So we have a total of 28 golfers that are 1-1s. I think we can go ahead and just X out some of these players that we don't care about or don't like. So like this guy here, Kurt, I think is actually a decent play. I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and just, don't mind me. I'm not gonna really talk about any of these golfers because I don't think any of them are going to be relevant. I might get screwed with some of them. Like, I know who Xander Lombard is. I'm not gonna play him because I just haven't heard anything relevant of him. Benjamin Hebert, I do know him, and I think he's a decent golfer. Obviously, his ranking is pretty decent. Victor Perez, now that I see his world golf rankings 71, maybe I should not X him out. I think I'll keep it that way. I think Bezuidenhout is a golfer who catches fire pretty quick, so I'm gonna keep him there. And I think that's how you put it. Either way, fun to say. Although I know Marty Doe just for nickname purposes, I don't think he's worth the play. Scott Hend I know can get hot fast, but I'm not gonna play him. And Richard Sterney, I'm not gonna play him either. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. From my watching the Euro Tour, I think it's Sterney. So we've gotten rid of a bunch of them. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the X's, and now we kind of have a fairly narrow player pool here. I could go a further step here and just mark all of the golfers that I really like. I mean, when we look at this in a salary type of way, like Henrik Stenson is the top, sure, not a bad play. Lineup construction. So if I put Henrik here, actually, sure, I'm gonna go ahead and play him. Oh god, I don't want to play him a lot. So 4 lineups. That's it. That's how I'm gonna kind of hedge against myself. I like Burn. I'm not. See, okay, never mind. I will anchor him in 2 lineups. I don't like the fact. So none of these golfers to me are really anchor specific golfers, and I don't think that's what we should do. So what I'm going to do is remove these golfers, throw them off to the side. Obviously I like sure. I'm gonna go ahead, put all these golfers. Oh shoot, shoot, sorry. Put all those golfers there, come back and grab some of these guys and just throw them on a lineup. So this is kind of my way of reminding myself, hey, we need to find 1-1s to go with some of our other players. What I'm going to do right away, right off the hop, so you guys can see it. Like, I like Rory McIlroy a lot this week. I have nearly 40 lineups. I'm going to play him in 50% of them. So there's 20 lineups right there. I do like Hideki, Xander, and Justin Rose. I like those all to be anchors as well. So of my 40 lineups, so this is what I'm going to do with this. So then all this gets me to 32, and they're all being played nearly the same, which is totally fine because I'm also going to mix some of them with the Rory McIlroys. Okay. I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm going to hand make a lot of my lineups down here. Every week I kind of go through here, and my last few ones aren't the greatest. So 12, so that means I'm playing them 4 times each. I suppose I could just sort them. Okay. So now I know I need to play some of these guys over here in some of their lineups. So Henrik with Rory, since Rory's in 50% of my lineups, 20 lineups, I think I just want to play Henrik like twice. And then I'm just not sold on, okay, that's how we're going to do that. Then Burn is going to be similar. this is what we're going. I'm sorry, guys. Like I don't like the way. So okay, if I'm making 40 lineups, how much Henrik do I want? I want maybe at most 15%, maybe. That's probably gonna be like average. Oh god. How about this? We will play him that many times. So we'll play him in 9 lineups. That works for me. See, this is gonna be me just randomizing this. I don't really care. I do, but I don't. I don't play Willie or McIntyre. I can play in that many. Yost, we'll play him in like that many. The rest of these guys, I want at least some exposure to. Sure, I don't mind that. We can do it this way. Plus, we can also double up. These guys will be here off to the side. We'll know that we want to play them a couple more times. I think I like that. So I have 2 more that I could add. I think I'm going to add 1 more Phil and 1 more McIntyre because I do like Robert McIntyre. So like you've seen in other videos of mine, what I'm going to do is go ahead and randomize that range. So now I'm going to have just a mix that I'm just not going to be able to tell, you know, where they are, how much Henrik. Like this is too much Henrik. I don't think I want that much paired up right down there, especially when I don't even know who that's going to be with. So I'll randomize it again. Just make sure nothing looks weird or out of place. So that's fine. I don't see anything like any major groupings next to each other. So we'll keep it that way. We'll keep it just like this. That works for me. So then the other thing I was going to go with, 2 1s, right? Wasn't that what we wanted to look at? 2 1s, we saw that in 80% of lineups. Yep. Over the last 5 years, we've seen it 80% of the time. So that's how I'm also going to work this. So 2 1s, Justin Rose and Hao Tong Lee. See, that's what makes this really fun. You know, coming in here, kind of, you know, like narrowing it down. Now that I know this, I think I'm gonna, well, 80% of lineups, obviously. So where I don't have Justin, okay. Let's go ahead and just copy both of them, and I am going to paste those right over here. Now that I look at this, I should just create this column as a rules column and just have the players I like. So obviously we have Justin Rose down here. I could play some Hao Tong with him. So what I'm gonna do is create a column over here, and so 80% of my lineups here. I think of the math on it right away. So well, I bet you I could if I really thought about it. So 32 lineups are gonna have Hao Tong or Justin Rose in them, which is totally fine by me. Now, of those 32, let's play Justin Rose in 60% of them. Basically 19 lineups. So we'll play Justin Rose in 19. We already have 4. So this is what we'll do. 4, 8, 12, 16. That would be 20. 15. And then Hao Tong will be in the remaining. So now what we do here, so we don't like this, right? We want to mix this up and use up all of our lineups. So we're going to have some blanks here, which is totally fine. We're going to go ahead and randomize that range. So now we're going to get some just crazy. And I like this because now I don't have to do much work in thinking of what to do with, you know, additional Justin Roses next to each other. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. So like something here, that's not going to be doable. So we're going to have to change it up, and just for the hell of it, I'm going to randomize it 1, 2. So we have one Justin Rose here. What I'm going to do is just get rid of him, put him in a lineup or like close to somebody. There we go. Works for me right like that. And then go ahead, close that off. So now all my Justin Rose lineups here. I like that, having 2 Houtongs. It works for me. And so what I'll do is I'll look at some of these prices. Again, $6,000. Like, that's not giving us any money to do anything for the rest of the lineup. I'm gonna go ahead, remove him from here, bring him down to where Benjamin Hebert is, and then remove him from there. So now I'm just eyeballing the salaries and making sure I have a little bit of, you know, the ability to move around. Like, this is an interesting lineup. That 6,200 is still on the table with Burn, because Burn is pretty expensive. I could go ahead and switch him out for somebody a little bit more expensive. Sure. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, get rid of Robert McIntyre up there, find a Robert McIntyre, and replace him there. That way we get $6,800 left. So, I mean, just, I like doing it this way. It kind of randomizes it quite a bit for me. And from here, now I'm going to let you guys determine how you want to create the rest of your lineups. I know some people in the industry don't like when you create a full lineup for someone, but this is how I'm starting my lineups, just like this. The rest of those columns, I'll do some kind of mix and match between all of them. Again, I can add a couple more 1-1s, at least one. So I might do that in the gaps here. Or, we'll see. These will actually be kind of like golfers I will add to the end. You know, if I can fit any of those golfers in, I will. And that's how I'm going to determine if we're going to have multiple 1-1s. For the 2-1s, obviously we only have 2 of them. And in 80% of our lineups. So all of these white spaces, I'm going to keep white. I am not going to allow any Haotong or Justin Rose to touch that. If I'm going to put another 2-1. So obviously, basically, I'm either going to pair Haotong with Justin, or I'm going to pair Justin with Haotong somewhere, and go from there. I'm also going to look at the tee times and kind of try to find, okay, I have all of these golfers here. Who can I mix them up with? Do they fit the salary? And pretty much go from there. It's going to be my little fun way of puzzle piecing. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. This is much faster than typical. We're at 38 minutes. So by the time I finish this, I'm thinking it's going to be right around 40. I want to double check that I don't have anything else to talk about. I really don't. So I'm going to give you back like 20 minutes of your time that I typically take from week to week. I do want to thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, you know, any comment. If you have a question, let me know, man. I want to know what you think about the video. If you've got any questions about particular players. I find myself watching a lot of PGA Tour and Euro Tour, so I feel like I know a lot of these golfers. Go ahead, leave your questions. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I will see you in the review video. The review video. All right, see you guys.